Hey everyone, thanks for tapping into Constant Cadence with Matt. I've been away for a little while and gone through a move, but I'm back and I'm excited to share a trip to London that I took recently. It's actually where I'm at now filming this, but I'll show you some of the places I went, some of the watches I saw, and can't wait to do that. But I've also got two really cool watches to review, and I'll be putting reviews out for those soon. I've got the Momentum C Quartz 30 Eclipse, which is a solar powered quartz movement. They also have an automatic. It's a really interesting watch, in my opinion, a day date, and it has basically it's a reissue of the Magnum PI watch, which was worn by Magnum during the first three seasons before he switched to a Rolex GMT Master 2 Pepsi. So looking forward to talking about that. And then also the Tudor FXD Alinghi Red Bull Racing, the three-hander, not the chrono, which I have really enjoyed wearing, and I can't wait to share the review on that as well. So what I'd like to do at this point is talk a little bit about my trip to London, and I'll share some of the watches that I tried on. I had a unique experience at a Rolex boutique, which I'll talk about as well. But first, I wanted to talk about which watches I brought with me. I sort of struggled with this because there have been reports of not only violence in London, stabbings, things like that, but also huge jumps in theft as it relates to wristwatches, like 60% jump or something like that. So I didn't want to bring any of my really nice watches that I would feel bad about perhaps getting stolen. But I found two that I think strike a good balance. First of all, my Seiko, this is an SSK001, which is cool, and it's been really useful because it's a GMT, so I can keep track of the time back home. It has an attractive, silver and black bezel, and it's an automatic. And also the bracelet on this one is, while it's not micro adjustable, it has a good adjustability, and it's kind of a nice looking bracelet. So I think it's a cool watch to just wear in the street, and it looks good, and it doesn't draw any undue attention. So there's that. And then I wanted to have something a little bit nicer, and I didn't want to bring like my IWC Engineer or any of the Omegas. I really thought about the Speedmaster, but I just thought that may draw too much attention. But this one I think strikes a nice balance. It's the Wise AD8, and in this case it's M for meteorite dial. So it's a three-hander, but really beautiful meteorite dial and gold accents on both the bezel and the indices and hands. And I don't know if you can see that. There we go. That's a little better. It's just a really nice watch, and it gives me something that I could wear in more formal situations. So that's the 1-2 punch that I brought with me, and it's worked out great. I've really enjoyed wearing both of the watches. So let's get into my watch tour of London. I went to a lot of cool places, tried on some really cool watches, and I thought it'd be a great way to sort of jump back into getting content out for you. And please do look out for my reviews of both the Momentum and the Tudor. Let's get into it. So I found an article in Hodinkee from 22 by Malika Crawford, and she actually interviewed a guy named Alex Stevens about where to go in London if you're interested in watches. And the place that seemed to be kind of the initial stop was Bond Street and also Burlington Arcade. So that's where I headed. The first thing I saw when I got out of the cab was the Jaeger LeCoultre store and boutique rather, and So I walked right in and just dove in. There are a couple of pieces that I've been looking at for quite some time from Jaeger-LeCoultre JLC. And the first of those, which is the first I tried on when I got inside, was the Master Control Calendar. I really like this piece because it's so classic, and it has a few complications with the day and the date in the month that I really enjoy, and I just love the classic, clean look of it. I don't know if it's something I could wear every day, but I definitely would wear it in certain situations, and I definitely think it's amazing. And I think JLC is an amazing watchmaker. As probably many of you know, they're referred to as the watchmaker's watchmaker because of their attention to detail and the craft. The other piece that I constantly go back to is the Reverso, the Duo-Face Tribute, which is a larger, I have an 8-inch wrist. So I did try that on, and I tried a gold version of it on, which was just stunning. You think it's going to wear small, but the Reverso does not wear small. It wears entirely differently than a round watch or a cushion case or most other shapes. It's more like a fancy bracelet, and I think it looks amazing. Next on the rotation is Rolex. Take a deep breath. I, of course, wasn't expecting anything to be available, and it's kind of tricky with tariffs and value-added tax, and it's hard to calculate how much stuff is actually going to cost. I think with everything going on, it's a little bit more expensive than buying domestically, but there were some watches and from some sellers that didn't seem to be the case. At any rate, I went into the Rolex boutique on Bond Street, and it was amazing. I think there were 3 levels. There were salespeople everywhere, and I had 2 watches that I really wanted to take a look at. The first is what I'll refer to as the Zombie, or the Bumblebee is what some people call it. And they did not have one of those available even for exhibition. So I was disappointed about that. But the other one is the Bluesy. So the Submariner, 2-tone Submariner with the blue bezel insert and the blue dial, which is just a stunner. They did have one of those to show me, and so I got a salesperson to, get a table, and we get the tray out and take a look at the watch and talk about it a little bit about Rolex. And they said something that sort of shocked me. The salesman said, "Yes, we do have one of those to show you, but we've also got a brand new one upstairs if you decide you'd like to buy one." And I was not expecting that. It caught me completely off guard. And I was pretty excited, although I didn't have any intention of buying on the spot, just because I didn't think, for a number of reasons, but I didn't think that there would be any available to purchase. But when you throw in VAT and or tariffs, it winds up adding a pretty hefty number to the costs. And even if for whatever reason I had to sell on the gray market, the Bluesy in particular doesn't command as nearly as high a premium because it is a higher dollar watch as the all steel variety. So the more I thought about it, it requires a little thought. You really have to calculate how you're going to procure it and calculate the costs that are associated with it before you pull the trigger while you're over here. Still a great place to look at watches, and tons of awesome watch shops, which we'll continue on with. I saw Richard Mille, which was kind of weird. I'm not a big fan of Richard Mille. I know that he is an amazing watchmaker, and I know that that they're very expensive. I just don't like that shape, and I don't like sort of the modern take on that. I guess I'm more traditional. But it's just kind of weird. Like they didn't have any, they had strange ones on display, even in the store. And it just seemed sort of, I don't know, it just didn't seem very welcoming. And a lot of these stores are, not incredibly welcoming just because of the security they have. But you can go in there and if you're a watch person, they know. And if you know anything about watches, you feel welcome and you feel like, you're a part of that world. But Richard Mille, well, not so much. And you've also got places like Swiss Gallery that have a bunch of different manufacturers. I stopped in here specifically because I'm a big fan of Girard-Perregaux. There aren't any boutiques in the DC metro area. And I really love the Laureato and also Parmigiani Fleurier, the P.F. Tanda. This is, I think, the Rattrapant that I've displayed here, but really cool. Like you can see it all here, which I think is fantastic. Also, Vacheron Constantin, the Overseas Blue. Love this watch, and I think it's actually getting to be a really good value. It's really nice just to be able to go around. This is getting into Burlington Arcade, which is like an indoor row of shops. Really pretty. It's very crowded, but there are a lot of secondhand watch stores here, and they're super crowded too. Their inventory is amazing. Well, here's an example at Vintage Watch Company. Their vintage Rolex selection was mind blowing. I mean, you can see in the lower right hand corner, there's so many Pepsis. There's all kinds of different GMT Master 2s, all kinds of different Submariners, all kinds of different Oyster Perpetuals, and you name it. So there's really wide selection. I think the prices here are kind of top of the market, right? Like more retail, particularly the boutiques, obviously, but even these secondhand stores, these are not industry prices or anywhere close. These are full retail. These companies are making money selling watches, and they also buy watches from folks as well in order to replenish their inventory. But really a fun place to look. And you can see as we go down the different rows here, and here's some Patek Philippe's. And then it's important as you look at watches in London, I think, to get the whole picture as it relates to the culture and, have a pint in between. As the holidays approached, the city got really pretty, and I'm glad I was here for that. I really wanted to see the Zenith Pilot Big Day Chrono. And if you want to see a lot of different brands in one spot, check out Watches of Switzerland. It's 3 stories, really big store. Chaumet is also interesting. Bill Sanders at Watch Art Sci talks about the fact that they're a really good fine jeweler, but that they also have a horology history, and they have in particular a watch called the Dandy that you can get pretty good deals on, and they're really great. I've been thinking about adding one to the collection. So I finished the day with this kind of power row of brands. First, Breguet, kind of the granddaddy of them all, the oldest watch brand. Then Chopard with the Mille Miglia and Alpine Eagle, and of course Patek Philippe. And at the end of the day, as throughout the day, I had several pints and enjoyed myself, and had some of the local food, and really just had a wonderful time talking watches, looking at all kinds of different watch brands, and more importantly, talking with people and asking questions about what kinds of watches they liked and why they were looking at the ones they were looking at. So I hope you enjoyed it. Couple shout outs. The Kettle Club seemed like they had really active inventory, which I loved. Watchfinder and Company, of course, most of you are familiar with. Great web presence. And then Bremont, I'll finish with, I just took a look at their new Jump Hour, and I thought it was a really cool watch at a fairly reasonable price. So maybe check them out. And there you have it, everybody. A fun-filled few days in London, trying to find some watches, try on some watches, talk to watch people, figure out value-added tax and tariffs and everything else. But along the way, also enjoyed some great food, had more than a few pints of awesome beer, and I hope every one of you gets a chance to do the same. And I hope that this video is helpful when you do try and do that. So thanks again for tapping into Constant Cadence, and I hope your dial makes you smile.